How do we respond to these Capitol Hill riots? Not at a political or a societal level, but just at a personal level. What does it mean to be a Christian, to live in times when some of our brothers and sisters who identify as Christians are participating in these riots and this mindset? How are we processing our feelings? Are we nourishing the fruit of the Spirit? Well, let's ask Inner Ninja. We're still getting some kinks out, but Inner Ninja is a kind of search engine for practice, not for information, not for content, but for practice. What if I'm feeling traumatized by all the news? Today, Ninja recommends Hope Rope by Paul. When someone gets to the end of his rope, I feel the desperation in my bones. I've worked much harder, been jailed more often, beaten up more times than I can count, and at death's door, time after time. I've been shipwrecked 3 times, left swimming for my life in the open sea, day and night. I've had to ford rivers, fend off robbers, struggle with friends, struggle with foes. I've been at risk in the city, at risk in the country, endangered by the desert sun and sea storm, and betrayed by those who I thought were my brothers. I've known drudgery and hard labor, many a long and lonely night without sleep, many a missed meal, blasted by the cold, naked to the weather. I've crawled through a window in the wall, was let down by a basket, and had to run for my life. I've been pressed on every side by troubles, but not crushed. Perplexed, but not driven to despair. Hunted down, but never abandoned by God. Knocked down, spiritually terrorized, but not destroyed. I am focusing all of my energies on this one thing, forgetting the past and looking forward to what lies ahead. What lies ahead has to be the healing and the reconciliation. And our mission is to help paint a picture of what lies ahead. And as John Lewis says, we are here to live by a higher conception of reality and to help create that reality. It'll never be all love and kisses. It'll never be Pollyanna. But there's no room in our hearts for bitterness, no room for anger about the past stuff. And anger about the past means we are still living spiritually terrorized and have not yet been transformed by the renewing of our minds. Those treasures of the heart, those fruit of the Spirit, that's what lies ahead. And our task as Christians is to fill in that box with images, real images of beautiful people doing beautiful things. We know spiritual trauma. We got this thing down cold. We are experts in spiritual trauma, aren't we? But you notice the title of this Wellgorithms is not spiritual trauma. It's Hope Rope. Imagine how it would be to go through life, go through each step of life. Spiritual trauma, spiritual trauma, spiritual trauma. That's what we're doing to ourselves with the news every day, every hour sometimes. Spiritual trauma grabs eyeballs. It hijacks our attention. This was actually a phrase. This is adapted from Paul's second letter to the Corinthians. And in the Message translation, Eugene Peterson uses this phrase, spiritually terrorized. That's what's happening. It happened. He's talking about this 2,000 years ago. How can we know our divinity? If the very language of our culture is spiritual trauma, we need a new language. That's what lies ahead. A new heaven, a new earth, a new language of hope. What lies ahead for you? The language of trauma or the language of hope? I know in 2021, I want to spend more time in innerMiracles. Because if our faith traditions teach us anything, it's that this life is a miracle. Remember, Albert Einstein once said, there are two ways to live your life. One is as though nothing's a miracle. The other is as though everything is a miracle. And when we do things like these riots, we're squandering the miracle. But when we do things like this, we're living in the miracle and inviting the miracle into our hearts and inviting the miracle to spread among us.